Hey guys, I am Trent for Trent Sense, and I am here to talk to all of you about the Samsung Galaxy Nexus. Alright guys, here we have the retail packaging for the Galaxy Nexus. The Galaxy Nexus comes with a 4.65-inch Super AMOLED capacitive touchscreen, which is also oleophobic, and is capable of showing 16 million colors. I must also mention that the resolution on this screen is rated at 720 by 1280 pixels. Right above the screen, you have your earpiece, sensors for proximity and ambient light, and a front-facing video camera. On the right, you have a tactile key for power and standby, and below that you have 3 gold connectors. On the left, you have a rocker key for volume control. At the top of the phone, there are no ports, but you do have a tiny slot to open up the battery door, as well as a little notch for the secondary microphone if you look closely. At the bottom, you've got the 3.5mm headphone jack, the main microphone, and the micro USB port. The back features a textured battery door made of flimsy plastic, but that's to be expected from Samsung build quality. On this same door, you've got branding from both Google and Samsung, and you also have the 5-megapixel camera unit, which comes with a single LED flash. This camera is capable of shooting HD quality video in 1080p at 30 frames per second. And below the battery door, you've got the loudspeaker. There is a bay for the main battery, as well as a slot for your SIM card just above it. Ultimately, I had to save the best for last. Ladies and gentlemen, this Samsung device comes with a built-in notification light. The first feature that grabbed my attention with this third-generation Google phone is the fact that it finally has an LED notification light on the front face toward the bottom. Depending on the notification, it actually shows different colors. Another feature that sets it apart from any other Android phone thus far, there are no touch-sensitive commands on the hardware of the phone itself. Everything is built into the software for Ice Cream Sandwich on the screen. Since these touch commands are built into the OS and don't have to be beneath the screen, it allows for the Galaxy Nexus to have a bit of a longer display, bringing it to an HD quality of 720 by 1280. With that being said, having an HD display does add a bit more length to the Galaxy Nexus when compared to the Galaxy S2 or the iPhone, but it still happens to maintain just the right amount of thinness and narrow shape in order to not feel bulky in your pocket. I was not really impressed with the plasticky build quality that Samsung is known for. However, after a while, I started to really get into the gunmetal coloring of the plastics, as well as the soft touch texture of the battery door. Thankfully, as I held the device in my hand, there was no sign of any creaking or any kind of bending whatsoever. The Ice Cream Sandwich interface on the Galaxy Nexus is indeed full of eye candy and a lot of graphical prettiness when you're navigating through all of the touch screens. Even the Roboto font does offer a bit of a modern feel that's almost similar to that of what's offered on the Windows Phone OS. Unfortunately, there were times when the touch responsiveness of ICS wasn't exactly all too quick. The lagging problem tended to show itself in web browsing, photo browsing, and playing certain games. Overall battery life for one day wasn't that bad, but it wasn't that great either. If I wasn't careful with heavy usage, I often had to recharge the Galaxy Nexus in the early evening. This third-generation Google phone did have problems when maintaining a steady connection with the AT&T 3G network, especially within my own home. I had a couple of issues with dropped calls, and there were also times when dialed numbers didn't always go through. Overall sound quality on the earpiece for voice calls was not too bad on the Galaxy Nexus, even though I felt that it could have used a bit of a bump in volume. Other than that, overall clarity in hearing the other person was not that bad at all. Although sound quality from the earpiece happened to be sufficient for voice calls, unfortunately this was not the case for the loudspeaker. The Galaxy Nexus suffers from low volume when it comes to listening to songs from the Google Music application or listening to audio from movies on the YouTube site or Netflix for that matter. In my early days of using this phone, I came across a bit of instability with ICS, particularly in my car whenever I used Google Navigation and Google Music at the same time. There were instances when the Galaxy Nexus would simply just do a complete random restart in the middle of my road trip. There are two major problems that I happen to have with the Galaxy Nexus personally. One, the lack of support for expansion with micro SD cards, and two, the lack of USB mass storage. Now, as a result of that, I'm limited to the 16 gigabyte internal storage on the device. In regards to putting my own multimedia files onto the phone, I definitely was not impressed at all. You have to rely on a software program to sync everything to the phone, much like the Apple iTunes or Microsoft Zune. Just when I thought lack of USB mass storage was bad enough, having a buggy syncing program was even worse. Even though I could not download my own videos to the phone, I still was able to get a sense of its video playing capability by going to the YouTube website and watching videos in the full screen on the HD display. And I also tested the same quality through the Netflix application and playing back videos from there as well. The 5-megapixel camera on the Galaxy Nexus is passable for, average quality, still pictures or HD video. If you're looking for more of a refined quality, you're not going to get it from this phone. You're better off going with either the Galaxy S2 or the Nokia N8. Clip with the 5-megapixel camera on the Galaxy Nexus made by Samsung for Google. Now, as you all know, this is indeed the third generation. I will be sure to come back with you guys as to my thoughts on this particular device. Until then, all of you guys take... Using the Touch QWERTY in order to type out emails and text messages happened to be a bit more of a cramped experience for me. Now, that's no surprise given that I've been used to using the Galaxy Note for a while. What's pretty neat about the speech-to-text feature on the Galaxy Nexus is that it happens live as you're speaking to the phone directly, period. After my previous experience with the Nokia N9, the Galaxy Nexus was my second phone to have the NFC chip built into it. Unfortunately, I had no use for it, and so I was unable to sufficiently test it. At the end of the day, was the Galaxy Nexus really a worthy upgrade for me as an Android user? I have to say no, it was not. Once again, I think Google really shot itself in the foot by releasing a device that does not support micro SD card expansion, it doesn't support USB mass storage, and once again, you're having to rely on a software program on your computer in order to be able to sync media files onto your phone, which I think is a travesty as far as being able to use your smartphone to the best of its ability. Other than using, pure Android and getting updates, in a quick flash in comparison to other people on other Android platforms, I really see no other benefit to using a Nexus phone. I really don't. I'm actually more interested in seeing the ICS enhancements on TouchWiz on my Note instead of having any reason to go back to pure ICS on the Galaxy Nexus. Even though the Galaxy Nexus didn't turn out to be the holy grail for me as an Android user, who knows? It could offer the perfect amount of Android magic for your typical smartphone user, either on the Verizon network or on the AT&T network. Alright, with all of that being said, that is my review of the Samsung Galaxy Nexus, and until the next video, all of you guys take care and stay safe.